probably said everything I need to by way of introduction. Just mentioned to those who've just arrived that there is a possibility of fireworks going off during this evening's broadcast. I don't normally use that word broadcast, but it is, isn't it? Special kind of broadcast because it's interactive in a way. We're doing it something we're doing together, not just me giving something and you're receiving. By actually taking part, you're actually giving to it. We're doing it together. But yes, we're going to be. I'm going to be talking a little bit, and then we'll be doing the mindfulness of breathing meditation. As I've mentioned, if you don't know that meditation practice, I will be leading it. But if you don't know it, if you're not familiar with it, it'd be good to know that. So do say in the chat if you're able to. So yeah, so we're on a whole series, Living with Awareness. Well, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? Looking at the cultivation of awareness in relation particularly to meditation. And of course, that's what meditation is about, isn't it? It's about awareness. And it's more than that, but it's in particular about awareness. And I'm going to be exploring a particular aspect, a particular dimension of that this evening, which is, well, maybe I'll let that unfold shortly. But yeah, the title I've given this evening is The Mirror of Meditation. The mirror. And so when we look in a mirror, of course, at least if we're facing it directly, what we see is ourselves. And of course, meditation is more than that, especially if we're doing the Metabhavana practice, the other practice we do on these evenings. It's in particular about awareness of ourselves. And it's about awareness of our minds. It's more than that too. The body's important, as we've heard recently in the last couple of weeks. But yeah, we hold a mirror to our minds in meditating. We see a bit about what's going on. And that's really important. Mind is regarded as central in Buddhism. It's Buddhist practice is about working with the mind in a range of different ways, so very subtle and very different ways. It's also about being in relation to the world, because the mind is in relation to the world, always. But yeah, the mind is central. There's a famous Buddhist text, so a collection of the Buddha's sayings called the Dharmapada, and the first sentence of that is, experience is led by mind, preceded by mind, and produced by mind. That's the first sentence. It goes on, which we don't have time to go into what it follows that with. But it just points to how what we experience, our experience as it were of the world, which is something, is mediated, coloured, hugely influenced by our mind. We're not the objective observer we might like to think we are. Our mind has a huge effect upon what we experience. It's the coming together of the mind and the world that determine our experience, not just the world. So, some of you have probably seen the little ad I did for this evening. I talked about the old inscription at Delphi, know thyself. So that's what we're trying to do in meditation, or that's part of what we're trying to do in meditation, to become aware of our mind, which means particularly aware of our states of mind. But it's not just observing, because actually bringing awareness to what's going on in our mind itself changes things. Awareness has an effect upon what we're bringing awareness to, which of course is something that's been observed in modern physics. I won't go there, but it's quite nice. There's that parallel and that connection. It corresponds to what we observe when we look at what happens in meditation, what happens when we bring awareness to our state of mind. And so we become aware of ourselves through meditation. I think in a way, what really brings the mirror to us is other people, is our relationships with other people in the world, the different interactions we have and so on. But we're more able to see what's going on for us in those interactions through a meditation practice. We become more subtly aware. I notice, for example, little responses of anxiety or guilt, which I might not otherwise notice if I didn't practice meditation. And that means I'm able to change how I am in those situations, at least sometimes. So when we bring awareness to our experience, let's go back to meditation. Well, we might notice states of mind that are helpful. There might be contentment, there might be a sense of calm. There might be joy, gladness. There might be a sort of loving kindness. Even if we're not doing the Metabhavana, there could be loving kindness. So if there's something going on that's of a positive character, which is not the same as pleasant, can't go into that today, but something positive, something that opens us up, as it were, that maybe I won't pursue that thought right now. That's a helpful state of mind, and we bring attention to it, that state of mind will grow. Bringing attention to positive state of mind, it will grow, it will develop. And of course, that's the principle behind the Metabhavana practice, which is not what we're doing tonight. But what if there's a state of mind that's not so helpful? I just mentioned anxiety, guilt, which is regarded as a negative state of mind in Buddhism. Irritation, annoyance, anger. Anger is a bit more nuanced, but irritation, annoyance, ill will, unhelpful states. Well, if we can bring awareness to those states of mind, we're already bigger than them. Yeah, so if I'm getting irritated in relation to something somebody's done, and I'm aware of that, my being, as it were, is already bigger than the irritation. So when I'm not aware of it, I'm totally caught up in it. I am, as it were, the irritation, or in effect. But if I'm aware of it, I'm bigger than it. It's like no longer being just a cloud, but you're aware of it's about like being the sky, and the cloud is just in the sky. But the sky is much bigger than the cloud. So, awareness itself, we're bigger than whatever's going on. And this is why body awareness is so helpful in meditation. We start usually with body awareness. And that gives us a kind of a broader awareness, a context in which states of mind are kind of then just something that's going on, as it were. That's the principle there, one of the principles there. And of course, the more aware we are of what's going on, the more we can choose whether to pursue it, to jump on that particular train of thought, as it were, get into that particular state of mind, or to act in a different way. And this is where we get to a very important area, which is the attitude that we adopt when there's an unhelpful state of mind going on. And it's very easy to get kind of dispirited by, oh, there I go again. I'm kind of, for me it might be anxiety. I'm getting anxious again, I'll never be rid of this. And we can get into that kind of thing. And it can seem like we're not making any progress. It's not like that. It's not like that. We're much more complex beings than either I'm an anxious person or I'm not an anxious person. I want to stop being this and be that. That's not how it is. There's tendencies, and we're cultivating one, but the other one will come in as well. Less and less with time if we bring awareness. But so the attitude we bring to unhelpful states of mind is really important. Sometimes it's enough just to bring awareness, just to be bigger than what's going on and not caught up in it. That's enough, and it just loses energy, it disappears. I expect many of you have noticed that in your own meditation practice. I just want to quote from, I'm quoting from a quote, but the original quote is from a Hungarian author called Untitled Chapter. And in English, it says, our relationship to, I'm sort of putting my own spin on this, our relationship to unhelpful states of mind, self-centered states of mind, is most helpful if the relationship is one of protective tenderness and gentle irony. I think that's fantastic. So we're getting really annoyed again with somebody. We're getting really anxious or whatever. And it's like having an attitude to that, which is a tender, like protective. It's kind of, there's something vulnerable within that, actually, that reaction, any reaction. So if we're bigger than that, we can have a relationship to it that's a kind, tender kind of relationship. It's a bit like it's a small child inside us that's upset. We are not it. If we're aware of it, we are bigger than it. It's part of us, but it's not us. I'm sure some of you have heard me say this sort of thing before. It's really important. And gentle irony, just sort of humour, not kind of having a go at ourselves. That's not that kind of humour. It's sort of an affectionate kind of humour. Just doing a mindful walk earlier today, just something we're doing on our course, and just noticed my mind going to, what am I going to say tonight here? Or I was thinking about certain political events of the day, and just sort of just able to just notice that and just bring a sort of humour to it. I'm doing that again. And just coming back to the body. Well, in fact, I was probably already somewhat in the body, or I might not have noticed that was what was going on. But I was able to bring an affectionate humour to it, in the way that I might to a young child who's misbehaving a bit. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the mindfulness of breathing practice, which I'll lead us in. I'm going to lead us in a body scan to begin with. And I think I'll allow a little bit more time at the end of the practice for what we call just sitting, where we're just sitting with our experience. I'll say a bit more when we get to that. And there's just one. No, I'll leave that. So we'll do the mindfulness of breathing. I'm just going to invite you, when you find your mind, something comes in, some train of thoughts that is not going to be very helpful to follow, or some negative habit of mind that's coming in, just see if you can have that attitude to it. First, just notice that in being aware of it, you're bigger than it already. And then see if you can have an attitude to it that's more kindly, forgiving, even just patient, and maybe humorous. Not taking it too seriously, but not dismissing it either. It's an art, but that's what I'm going to invite you to see if you can bring a bit of that into your meditation this evening. So if you want to set yourselves up for meditation, and I'll lead us, and it will be about half an hour, maybe slightly less. So just settling into your meditation posture, just relaxing whilst at the same time doing your best to have an upright posture, so there's an alertness to how you're sitting. You might want to gently close your eyes. I'd recommend that unless you're drowsy or you know you prefer to sit with your eyes open. And bringing awareness into the body. The mind and the body are very interconnected, so mindfulness of the body and awareness of our mind are very connected. And we can start by being aware of our weight on the seat. Just that sense of touch, that sort of gentle pressure being supported by our seat. And also contact between our body and the ground. So just noticing that sense of touch between our feet or our legs and the ground. Relaxing into that. And we can bring awareness into the feet. Just experiencing the feet from the inside. Just noticing sensations, coolness, warmth, touch in places. Coming up into the ankles, the lower legs. Just taking that in, just noticing how that feels right now. There can be tension in the muscles, just letting go if that's possible. Then bringing awareness up to the knees. And into the thighs. Again, noticing touch, noticing maybe the touch of your clothes. Be different in different parts of the leg. Noticing tension in the muscles. Just taking that in and letting go if we can. Bringing awareness up to the buttocks. Again, experiencing that sensation of our weight on our seat. And taking in the groin, taking in the hips. And bringing awareness to the back. Letting the spine be naturally upright, nice and long. Especially the back of the neck, letting that be long. Maybe noticing other sensations in the back. From the bottom of the spine, the base of the spine, all the way up. Again, maybe noticing touch of our clothes, but whatever comes to your attention. Taking awareness up to the head. Scalp, the face. Noticing how the face feels right now. Letting the forehead be soft. Letting the eyes be at ease, the cheeks. Letting the jaw relax. And then the shoulders. Just noticing how those feel. If there's tension, you may be able to let it go. You may not be able to let it go. Being okay with how the shoulders are. Bringing awareness down the arms, down to the elbows, right down to the wrists, the hands, the fingers. Just experiencing what's going on in our fingers. So much life in the fingers. Then taking attention to the guts, taking them in. Again, letting go. If there's tension and we're able to let it go. Maybe noticing already the movement of the diaphragm. And that can have a kind of massaging effect on any disquiet in our guts. And then taking awareness up into the chest. Just noticing how the chest is right now, and especially the center, the heart center. And again, maybe noticing movements to do with the breath, the body breathing. And as you sit here, aware of the body breathing, getting in the breathing body, also taking in your mood, getting a sense of your state of mind. Just noticing the flavor of your mind. No need to label it. Label may come, it may not. Just tuning in to how you are. And by being aware of our state of mind, we are already bigger than it, whatever it is. That will be the case through the meditation. As we move into the first stage of the mindfulness of breathing. And in this first stage, we pay attention particularly to the end of the out breath. And we can place the count at the end of the out breath. Breathing out, making a count 1, letting the breath come in and out. 2, and if we get to 10, starting again. Staying with the breathing body. Staying with the breath. So noticing where the mind is. If there are thoughts pulling us away, just having a bigger mind than the thoughts by being aware of them. Seeing if we can bring an attitude of kindness, tenderness, gentle humour. We're with the breathing body, and that makes us bigger than anything that's going on in the thinking mind. So we can shift now to the second stage, giving our attention to the beginning of the in-breath, placing our count there. Maybe we can even just notice that there's a breadth of awareness. Our awareness is not caught up in anything. It's grounded in the sensations of the body breathing. And if we notice the mind starting to wander off, that's okay, that's what the mind does. Just treating that with gentleness, being bigger than it if we can, coming gently back to the breath. Not taking our distractions too seriously. So now if we're ready, we can let go of accounting, staying with the whole process of breathing, staying with the sensations in the body wherever we're aware of them throughout the breath, throughout the process of a breath and the next. And if there's a need for more energy in the meditation, we can give a bit more attention to the in-breath. If there's a need for more calm, we can have a sense of letting go on the out-breath. We may be able to bring a gentle, tender, even protective quality to our awareness, bringing that quality to bear on whatever's going on. This is part of the whole family that is our being, that we're looking after. And again, if there's unhelpful states of mind arising, thoughts pulling us away, just noticing that by being aware of them, we're bigger. We can choose to follow, we can choose not to. We can still treat them with kindness. So now moving into the fourth stage of the practice, focusing on a single. Maybe where the breath first enters the body and last leaves it, with a background awareness of the body breathing. Even though there's focus, there's this breadth of awareness. We may find that can still have a kindly, gentle quality to it. And if not, being patient with that. And now, staying present in the body, we can let go of the practice, let go of any particular effort, just staying present in this breadth of awareness, aware of whatever's going on, enjoying what's positive, being kind with anything less positive, like a cloud floating through the big sky. Nothing more to do than be present and hold it all. In a moment, I'll ring the bell. We can gently bring the meditation to an end. Of course, we don't need to bring our awareness to the end, to an end. Simply broaden it out to include the rest of our experience. Okay. Well, I said that was going to be a longer of just sitting, just being present at the end. It probably wasn't much longer, but one can make that as long as one wishes, as long as one does a little bit of it at least. Yeah. So there's a bit of time now, and if anyone has any questions, anything related to what we've been exploring this evening, do please put them in the chat, and especially welcome the really basic, obvious questions. They're great. They're really sort of the ones that are a bit embarrassing to ask. Surely everyone knows the answer to this. Yeah, do ask. Or any comments. Maybe I'll ask a question. Question: What did you notice about your mind in that meditation, or what do you notice about your mind? And have you noticed any changes in relation to what happens in your mind through meditation practice? So what did you notice, or what do you notice about your mind? And have you noticed any changes in your relation to parts of your own mind? Or again, open to any questions, comments.
I was just thinking about the phrase you used earlier on, tender protectiveness, which when you first sort of said it, I think I misinterpreted, because protectiveness to me means kind of like defended or closed off, but you're meaning the opposite, aren't you? Like this gentle, I was thinking of nurture and that sort of looking at something with kindly eyes and caring for something, rather than wanting to enclose
barrier.
it.
No, well said. There's protective tenderness. That's right. Yeah, so it's a caring. That's right, nurturing quality that I think in a way you could say it sort of acknowledges the desire of. Let's take a definite example. Say fear. That's a really obvious example. Maybe that's too obvious. No, all right. So I'm getting annoyed in relation to somebody. Well, there's a reason that's happening. There's something in me that's in some way sort of doesn't feel taken into account, or a bit sort of hurt or something. There's a vulnerability in there. There's a desire to be safe. It's actually manifesting in this reaction. So that's my experience. So protectiveness, in a sense, is an appropriate reaction, appropriate response to that kind of reaction, or the vulnerability within that kind of reaction, whilst at the same time it doesn't imply that the reaction's fine and I should just go along with it, because that reaction is not helpful. But what's behind it is something that I can have a caring attitude towards. Yeah. Thanks for that, Liz.
There's nothing else coming through just yet.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay.
Okay.
How can we see that we are changing in meditation and everyday life?
How can we see that we're changing in meditation and everyday life? Okay, good question, Darren. Well, it can be hard to see, because the change is usually, not always, but usually gradual. And because it's sort of like a continuity, we can sort of forget that, how we were a year ago or 5 years ago or whatever is actually significantly different. And the other thing is, of course, it's not like how we are as a fixed thing. Well, of course it isn't, that we wouldn't be able to change. There's always different currents coming and going. So, yeah, I mean, as I've said a number of times, probably the unhelpful trait that's strongest within me is probably anxiety. And I've been meditating for 25 years. I still experience anxiety, but it's more subtle in how it manifests, and it doesn't manifest so often. So I think that's often what happens, is a kind of, it can, actually I do know somebody who seems to completely let go of anxiety, completely sink through it, and just doesn't manifest for him at all, it seems, these days. But it can be more that it just has less hold on us. We don't identify with it in the same way. And that's something we can notice gradually is happening through time. I don't know if that answers your question, Dara. If anyone else here would like to comment on that.
I was thinking, noticing it helps a great deal in terms of relationships. Noticing how my relationships change and how I respond to other people, and what people say to me about how I'm changing or what's gone on. Because it is hard to have a perspective on yourself, because it can be gradual. So what's going on outside?
Good point, Prataka. Yeah, and especially if we're able to be in good communication with other people who are practicing meditation, who sort of have a certain perspective on our lives and what we're seeking to do in that part of our lives. And I very much value myself the positive feedback that I get from my friends, just saying, "Oh yeah, I've changed, and in certain ways I've really changed." Yeah, it is very helpful. That. Anything else from anybody?
Yeah, Jisaki's made some comments. That protective tenderness makes it actually easier just to be with the thoughts without being identified with them. And then it's easier to relax and get into the steady flow that's connected to something deeper than my conscious thinking.
Yeah.
And then Linda has said, it really helps when I remember to set my intention as to how I will look at experience at the beginning of the sit. To have an allowing, kind way of being with whatever comes up. My tendency has been to be quite resistant, and I notice I'm much kinder than I used to be.
Oh, that's very good, Linda. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's a good point. It's a good point in relation to other aspects of how we meditate. If something's particularly valuable for us, principle to remember, an idea, an image. Images can be very good to actually write something or draw something and have it there on wherever it is you meditate, or some way of reminding yourself. You bring it to mind at the beginning of every meditation. Yeah, thank you.
And Hazel says she agrees with Linda. It's very useful to accept your negative thoughts when you delve further and realise where they come from.
Yeah. And as we become more experienced with meditation, we can notice when something's got a bit more power and it's worth giving more attention to. That's an art which we haven't got time to go into more tonight. Well, thank you everybody for that. So just a few things to say before we finish. So next week, which is week 5 in our series, Priyadarka will be leading and we'll be speaking on living skillfully. So that's next week. And we've got an event coming up on a Sunday morning. Do you want to come up here and say something? No, okay, sorry. Vidya Saki and Stephen Powell are leading a meditation morning called The Jewel in the Garment. Yeah. So that's Sunday the 15th. That's not this Sunday, but Sunday after. That's an online event you need to book through our website. That's free of charge. And that's for anyone who knows the mindfulness breathing and the metta who's doing those practices. So I'd encourage that. Something else to mention is we have a course, a Tuesday evening course starting next week. So this is an introduction to Buddhism and meditation, a 6-week course. Again, you need to book. So that starts next Tuesday, the 10th, and runs to the 15th of December. That's Tuesday evenings. Again, there's a free of charge online course, and that's it gives you. It is an introduction to meditation, but also very much to some of the Buddhist principles, the framework, as it were, within which meditation sits. So it's broader than the meditation course. And what else to say? Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. That really helps us. The more subscribers we have, the more it gets out there and the more people we can reach with what we're doing. And of course, tell your friends about it. And lastly, if you would like to help us with what we're doing, please make a donation. You absolutely don't have to. I don't want anyone to do it because I feel guilty about it. Please don't. But if you want to help us do what we're doing, please do. Please, regular donations especially welcome. And this has probably already posted a link in the chat. And yeah, click on that right away if you want to do that so you don't forget. And again, thank you for coming, because it does matter. And really value everyone taking part in this, and indeed everyone watching it later. We're all part of a community, even the ones who are not watching it live. So thank you for coming, and I won't see you. I never don't see you at the moment, and I won't see you next week. But you won't see me next week either, probably. But you will see Priyadarka, and I'll be with you. So thanks again, and good night for now.